Someone else who was drunk while you were podcasting with them, or were you the one who was drunk while podcasting?
Well, no, yeah, we've both done that.
Well, arguably,
I meant
yes.
the former rather than the latter.
Fair. Well, today shall not be one of those days where I end up being too drunk to podcast and end up playing a Pokemon game on my phone instead of paying attention to you.
Well, that was more or less a I didn't have the laptop. So
that is true. It was your fault. I'm glad
so it was definitely my fault.
I'm glad you claimed that.
No, I own up to everything.
I've felt bad for weeks because of that. So I'm glad that you're owning up to this finally so I can sleep soundly.
Wait, are you serious right now? You actually
entirely.
Felt bad about
I felt
that?
really bad. I was like, I ruined that whole day. Like, we could have had a great podcast.
You and I both need to
2 Alien episodes instead of 1. And then our fans could have been like, whoop, whoop, instead of just like, woo. You know? Yeah, they're like, woo. Like, where's the second one? And we're like, we'll get to it.
We'll get to it. Well, that's why we're here. But
that is true.
Hey, cheers.
Cheers, my friend. Here, let's clink it. Clink.
Clink. Glass.
No.
Bougie.
Tin. I think they're tin. Or aluminum?
Aluminum?
Yeah, aluminum. Aluminium?
Tin cans?
Aluminium?
Are tin cans tin cans?
I'm sure a percentage of them are tin.
Yeah, like I don't think
same
they're
way
actually
that,
tin.
They're like nickels are not made with nickel.
No, nickels are mostly garbage. They're not nickel at all.
Wow. Yes. They take your old Twinkie wrappers and pieces of Furby and they compress them down and plate
shots fired at the nickel.
Wow. I mean, listen, I hate the nickel too. I hate the nickel. I do. I love the penny. I hate the nickel.
Wow. Wild Wasteland, not a supporter of nickels or copper.
Listen, every single fucking dickhead in my entire high school was like, I got an easy thing to do for the senior project because we did this model UN. You had to like propose a bill.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many bills. They were like, oh, let's ban the penny. Yeah. Guys, didn't you know that it costs 2 cents to make every 1 cent? And I'm like, yeah, but did you know how much it costs to make a fucking nickel? And they're like, no. And I'm like, costs 20 cents to make a nickel. How is that any better than a penny? If anything, it's twice as worse. Fuck you.
No, it's 4 times as worse if you really think about it.
Well, no, because it's twice the cost to make. It's twice the cost of the currency, right? To make a penny. But it's 4 times the cost.
Oh, so it's twice as worse as twice as worse. Okay, so
that's what I'm saying. So it's twice as worse to make a fucking nickel.
No, I get you.
So
now.
like, why the hell are you guys ragging on pennies when they've been there? They've been so true. They've been so lucky on one side of them forever. The other side,
we should get rid of the nickel.
Yeah, the
How bad are dimes?
nickel is heavier. If you fill up a sock with nickels, you know, you can really hurt someone.
Yeah, if you have a sock full of pennies, you'll just have one sad homeless guy. Oh, I wanted change. I didn't want pennies.
Oh man, they won't even take this at McDonald's anymore.
They won't take them anywhere.
No, they won't. They won't take anything over 60 pieces of cents. Could you imagine that was a rule? They're like, welcome to McDonald's. Please pay for your Big Mac. They're like, it's $1.87. You pull out a piggy bank. They're like, we can only take up to 60 pieces of silver. And you get such oh God, I hope I have enough quarters.
Oh shit.
Oh God, why did I trade my dimes?
Oh fuck, dude.
You're left with just like a bunch of pennies and nickels, and you're like, oh shit. All right, 182, 183. She's like, you're at 59 pieces. Oh, I need a nickel. Please, sir, I'll trade you 5 pennies for a nickel. Well, what am I going to do with a nickel, sir? I don't know. Please just help me.
What am I gonna do with 5 pennies? You mean?
My Big Mac has been cold for 8 minutes. I'm just sorting through change, and my fingers are disgusting.
Listen, I went to McDonald's. I didn't think that there was going to be a test. I don't know what the hell's going on here. How do you even calculate 60 pieces of cents?
Right? Like, they only do this rule at, like, the Harvard McDonald's.
Yeah.
So someone's like, oh, well, here you go. Here is a 50-cent piece.
You must also do this calculation. If Gene eats 1 Big Mac at 3,000 calories and he burns off 35 calories a second for 45 minutes at a time when he jogs, how long will he have to run to the bus to be a fat ass?
And they're like, he just won't run. He'll get on his little electric scooter, and he'll get there quicker.
Oh, I can't wait till the birds or whatever they are.
So,
are in
yeah,
Chicago.
so
are they coming?
I hope so.
As the flock?
We have like Lime scooters right now. We have a couple in downtown.
Oh, the green ones.
The green
I've
ones.
seen those. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was in Harrisonburg, back at my old stomping grounds at JMU with my girlfriend Maddie, and we
shout out to Maddie.
Yeah, we were there for my fraternity's 10-year anniversary. I was emceeing the banquet dinner.
Right. And can you explain to the guests at home what does emceeing mean?
You're the master of ceremonies. So the thing was about 3.5 hours. I did the introduction, would introduce every speaker. I would segue us from thing to thing. I would do bits. I would make fun of people.
How much comedy did you do? Did it work?
Oh, about 87% of all material landed. The only shit that didn't land was right after the couple
rape stuff.
No, I didn't do any rape stuff. I held back, but the hard sell jokes were definitely the ones after the moments of silence for dead people we were remembering. That was a hard one. But
can we have a moment of silence for Jack Black? He died of.
You want to know something crazy?
What?
Honestly, like one of the most kind people I've ever known in my entire life. This phenomenal girl. She was just so sweet, and while she was in college, I don't want to name her, because
no, that's fine.
There are like charities in her name. I don't want to take her name by being
really
on the
sad.
Wild Wasteland podcast, but she was fantastic. She was a lovely girl. She was a little bit dense, but that. She just was very emotive. She when she was told that most apple trees are formed from deers and other wildlife eating apples and shitting out their seeds, she cried because she thought she was eating deer poop. She was a very fun person. But she actually got stabbed to death while in college.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, her boyfriend stabbed her to death.
I had a friend, her daughter got stabbed to death on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I couldn't make it to the funeral. I really missed it. Shout out to the people that I know who would listen to this and know who that is. And sorry I'm a cockhead and couldn't make it to that funeral. But you know what? I'm still here, and we're still kicking, and we're still remembering. But you know what I do remember? What we were talking about last week, my friend.
Oh, no, we're not gonna. That's not gonna.
That's not our
That's
segue?
not introducing.
That's not our segue.
That's not
Just talking about my friend who was
We're
murdered.
not gonna start
We
the
can't
podcast.
start by talking about a murdered friend.
No.
Why not? Oh, I guess it's not the week about murderers.
What the fuck?
If it was the week of murderers, would you let it slide?
Maybe, but that's.
I'm glad you have the fucking
It's a
morals of a fucking dog near food. You're like, listen, this isn't the week for chicken, but if you came by tomorrow when I wanted chicken, I might put that on there.
The thing about the comedy podcast and like actually laughing at the murderers and making fun of them and feeling bad for the victims is that there's that.
Oh, that
separation.
little separation that you don't fucking know them.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to laugh at a stranger, but you can't laugh at a friend.
I'm not.
What kind of an asshole are you?
First of all, I'm not laughing at your.
foe?
I'm not laughing at your friend who was brutally murdered by
Nor
an
am
asshole.
I.
That's the problem.
Yeah, why would you laugh
We
at
can't
that?
joke about that at the beginning of a podcast. You got to warm up to the laughing at the murderer.
Well, are we laughing at the murderer?
Like
or the
how many
murderee?
years? How many years did he get?
I don't know. I didn't even track it.
Well, hopefully
I
he's
hope he
getting
got a
fucked
bunch.
in the prison right now.
Yeah, I really hope so. She was very sweet.
That's the worst.
Yeah.
But now she's making apple trees because
Yeah, she's shitting out little apple trees as a bunny somewhere in
Reincarnation.
100-acre woods. Could you imagine that? Could you imagine if you died and like the reincarnation was you just became like a Winnie the Pooh character that they never wrote about?
They'd be like, oh bother,
And you're like, oh man, now I'm Humphrey the Hedgehog, and you're just fucking burrowing in 100 Acre Woods as Christopher Robin comes over and kicks you, and it's like, oh, I'm so sorry, and then you're involved in one adventure ever, and then nobody talks to you for like 75 years until you finally die of a sad fucking death inside your little burrow because nobody wants to talk to you, like Owl up in his goddamn tree. Maybe you guys go have some tea sometimes, but it's really hard for you to get all the way up into the tree because you don't have those big claws. You got the little hedgehog claws, and he's not gonna come down to see you. Otherwise, he might kind of eat you because he gets a little ferocious when it's dark out.
He gets pretty
so
angry.
like, and you're a nocturnal animal, so like it's not like you're gonna see Christopher Robin. He's a young boy, he's not going to. Could you imagine that shit?
Yeah, that would suck, but you can still go to like PoohCon and like sit at a booth and get a signature once. You can still make some money out of it, I think, is what I'm trying to say. Like there's people that like the guy who played Chewbacca in Star Wars. He goes to those conventions and just sits there. It's just like, oh, that guy. He's like 8 feet tall.
No shit. He's also one of the only characters in all of Star Wars is in every single movie.
Is he? He's always played with the same guy?
Yeah.
Until he dies?
He hasn't died yet. He's still using
When are
that
they going to
cane
kill off
very
Chewbacca
heavy.
and C-3PO and like R2?
Not how
because
can you
they've
kill
killed off
droids,
everybody else,
dude. How can you kill off droids? You can fix them. You can mend them.
Yeah, that's why he's got the red arm.
Yeah, exactly.
C-3PO.
How? I want.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Ladies
and
going through a
gentlemen at
tunnel,
home.
going through.
If you couldn't tell, Dean Maldonado isn't here today. And hey, this is Wild Wasteland. Fuck it. I guess like that's a good place to start.
Are you kidding me, man? I'm not here today.
And I'm Michael Johnson in studio, and across the pond, or whatever you want to fucking call it, is my best friend, Dean Maldonado.
That is true. I am his best friend, but I am not across the pond. I'm across a table.
What? No, you're in England. London, England right now.
Yeah, I know, but the computer
Paris,
is across
England.
the table. I'm not across a pond from you. I'm across a fucking table.
Like, it's 2018, Dean.
Exactly. That's why. Why are you?
There aren't any borders or barriers anymore.
Why are you saying that I'm across a pond? First off, it's an ocean.
Well, you spilt.
There's a massive
spilt a little
trench.
bit of beer between us. There's gnats.
Did-
they came back.
Did I spill beer? No, that's all.
No,
true.
it's a joke.
It's not even there.
The pond
So
spilt beer.
while I'm here, this is actually my. It's gonna,
While you're here?
no,
you're
while-
leaving?
no, in England, man, my friend.
Yeah. How is England?
It's better than fucking Chicago right now. It's because it's more
Whoa.
mild. It's more mild. I see your
What,
weather.
the politics?
No, I see your weather. Your weather's fucking terrible. It's goddamn chilly and rainy. We
It is
just
chilly
got overcast and like mild temperatures. It's not fluctuating as much. I probably won't catch a cold, but I'm going out to Stonehenge for the third time ever.
Oh, Stonehenge. That's where we left off in the last podcast.
Yeah,
It's crazy. We're
that's
talking
why,
about henges.
That's why I brought it up, my friend. So I'm going back out there. I've always lamented going out because whenever I get there, there's no cell service.
Put cell towers on the fucking tower. What?
Why the fuck would they do that? It's the middle of a field in a farm country in
Because
England.
people
There's
go
no-
there.
Yeah.
You need 4G.
Yeah, they go there like they go to the goddamn Alamo. They're not going to build a fucking town around Stonehenge.
Remember the Stonehenge.
Could you imagine if that was it, though? That'd be crazy. Because
They had to
Alamo,
fight off Mexicans.
well, the
in
Alamo's
Stonehenge?
right in the middle of the fucking town.
Interesting. Was the Alamo also a bar? Because I feel like
No, it's a very small church. It's a missionary.
Englishmen would have made Stonehenge at some point into a bar, like 1,000 years ago. Before they're like, "Oh, this is fancy."
No. So actually, Stonehenge is a. They found out recently it's a crypt. It's about 10 times larger in diameter underground than it is above ground.
Oh, interesting. Didn't they move Stonehenge,
No.
or they moved a highway?
Yeah, they moved the highway so it
Okay.
wouldn't hit Stonehenge. But they found, but they just basically put these big ass, MRI machines that radio image the ground on these carts, and they just drove them across Stonehenge. They found these like massive caverns.
Yeah,
these
you ever seen them
giant
do
shits.
that stuff? It's like really nerdy but cool at the same time.
Yeah, man. I
it's
mean,
it's
we can't
like
all
a
be Indiana Jones, okay? We can't all be swinging down and kicking Nazis in the face.
big dick swinging
Sometime-
around.
Yeah, man. That guy was big dick swinging. He went from being a robot hunter to
We're not talking about Indiana Jones again, okay? We're cutting this off now.
Okay, fine.
But
My Harrison Ford fetish.
like I said,
shall
it's not
diminish.
your dad's metal detector anymore. They're like giant lawnmower things that they like.
And they got like a battery on the top too because they have to run and power the units. There's an external charger. It's and they radio image the ground, which probably can't be good for the grass.
Fuck it.
Yeah, who cares? It's grass.
The
They'll
grass
figure
gets a
out
little bit of
way.
cancer, you know. What's it to them?
One of my coworkers the other day was like, "Hey, what do you think is gonna happen when vegans find out that the smell of fresh cut grass is the pheromone of grass yelling for help?" And I was like, probably nothing.
Yeah, because vegans don't eat grass.
They don't eat grass. Exactly. They eat wheatgrass, and they grow that out pretty
Is
fucking
this
long.
coworker your friend?
There's a reason I started with coworker.
I would fire this person.
I don't want to fire people, sir. I hate writing up. I hate doing that extra bullshit. I want to do my job. I want to get out of there.
See, this
If
is
you
why I
wanna
would
be-
fire. Like, I would be a terrible boss just because I'd fire everybody. Like,
All right,
oh,
enough about you being incompetent in the workplace.
Wow.
Let's get back to why I'm in England, sir. I am in England to go to the Museum of fucking London, right?
Dude.
Isn't that why I'm here?
Yeah.
You bought the plane ticket, asshole. Isn't that why I'm here?
Our listeners bought it. We had 52 listeners last week.
Yeah, and they all chipped in $3, and I went on Wow Air.
For $150.
Yeah, do Wow Air.
Flights to
into
Moscow are
Wow
like
Air.
$400.
Yeah.
Round
Flights
trip.
to Australia are like 600. Flights to London are like 80, dude. Look into Wow Air.
That's our sponsor for the week. Wow.
Yeah, go to Wow Air, www.wowair / Wow Wasteland. There's a lot of H's in that, but I hope you figured it out.
So you're in the Museum of London.
Yeah, because I want to go over their astrological findings.
Okay. Yeah.
They have a lot of old documents from like the Grecians and from the Egyptians because the English stole a lot of shit over the course of time.
Yeah. That's what they
And
did.
so I'm looking for any remnants of Nibiru or flying saucers or aliens in their records.
We
okay?
talked about Nibiru last week. What's going on? It's a water planet flying around. It's about the size of a gas giant. We call it an aqua giant.
Yeah, actually, so I did still not bring that right book.
About Pluto?
Yeah, let me check. Let me check my books.
No, we're not.
I'm gonna consult my texts for
it's
one
not-
hot second
Okay.
while you let our listeners know what's going on with Nibiru.
In America, we don't believe in Nibiru, the ninth planet. We only wear shirts.
Did you just say we only wear shirts?
We only wear shirts.
You don't wear pants?
No, not in America. What's the point?
What? In the American or British version of pants?
Oh, the British version of pants are underwear.
Exactly.
Yeah, both.
Oh my God, you indecent bastards.
Yeah, we just got dick swinging.
Yeah, okay,
lady
you
parts
big dick swinging. Oh. You know, I found out my friend got mouth raped by a lady boy.
Oh my God.
But
What?
moving on, so Nibiru was actually discovered by a NASA scientist. Now, they did not name it Nibiru because they are not ancient Sumerians. They named it X and then a bunch of numbers to signify the planet. But it was actually the exact same scientist who declassified Pluto as a planet, found another giant planet that was supposed to end up in our solar system. Because for
That's
the
interesting.
longest time, our astronomical scientists, they've
Yeah.
looked at our solar system and said, well, there is a giant planet missing.
Yeah, because the sway of like the sun and all the other, like it just didn't add up.
there's something basically, but because there's grades of solar systems, right? I was reading this book when I was young. It was actually The Science of Star Wars, and it was
okay.
it was talking about the fact about how there are habitable planets in many different galaxies.
Yeah, Class M planet.
Well, they call Goldilocks zone.
Yeah, the
is where
Goldilocks
they
zone, yeah.
reside in. And so there are an incalculable amount of planets like that. And that's why Star Wars makes so much sense. But there are different actual types of galaxies and types of solar systems. And in one with a star, with only a solitary star that is our size, we should have one more giant planet. And so the man who discarded Pluto as a planet back to being basically a massive asteroid found a large, massive planet that is the size of a gas giant that is heading back into our solar system that has a very large
arc.
No.
Rotation.
Rotation. Yeah, orbit. And so it should be back in our solar system around 2060, which is when it was predicted for fucking Nibiru to come back.
Oh shit!
And now Nibiru was the planet that our alien ancestors supposedly, I don't fucking believe that they put their sperm in a monkey and made us. Okay?
No,
I
that
don't.
doesn't make any sense.
I just don't.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, there's so much shit that we have in common with too many animals on this planet for them to just have like jizzed into a monkey and been like, bye-bye. Like,
no,
if they made humans, they made more intelligent life in different styles than just sapien, okay? They must have made dolphins. They must have made fucking octopuses. They must have made all that shit. Because if they're the ones who made intelligent life, they had to make all of it. Otherwise, where do the others come from?
Exactly.
You know? But
you know, elephants can paint.
Yeah. Do you know you can paint an elephant?
No, like elephants can paint other elephants.
No, I believe that. Did you know you can paint an elephant? Banksy did it.
Banksy can do anything. Like this guy, I don't know. He snuck into the oh shit.
The what?
Smithsonian, and like during the auction, I don't think it was a
No, he didn't.
What auction was it?
You're reading fake news about ridiculous news.
No, when he auctioned off his painting and it went into the shredder, but I just don't know.
Very recently, there was a video that he put out.
Are you saying that that's fake? That was all bullshit?
So there are people who believe that it was staged simply because...
Yeah, because they inspect everything and they're just like,
and they're
whoa,
like,
it's just 8 inch thick.
Yeah, how would they not find like a shredder and how would it know when to go off and who would have started it kind of shit.
I know, but still.
But there is a video of him laying a bunch of X-Acto knives to shred this very famous piece. But once it shreds, it's arguably worth more money.
Well, only because that's how stupid artwork is.
That's how art works.
Art works.
Literally.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm not trying to be facetious nor an asshole here, but if you had a piece of artwork that is worth fucking $12 million and you put it up for auction, and at the very end, right as someone's about to buy it, you go to set it on fire, that commotion and the fucking flame
those ashes
marks,
are going to be worth a lot of fucking money.
It'll make the thing worth more money.
Right.
It will, because it got more attention.
Yeah.
It was seen as a better, more desirable work that someone would go through that trouble.
Yeah, that's why the Mona Lisa is worth so much. But what are they saying? So people believe that aliens jizz in the monkeys and now humans are?
So it was the guy we talked about last time, Jim Mars. He
oh yeah, that crazy fucker.
He discussed these Sumerian texts, and while I do appreciate his input, I also don't really believe most of it because he embellishes way too far. You know, he goes on talking about how they came down to Earth to mine this gold.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because they used it for their technology, and then they didn't want to be miners because they're fucking spacecraft engineers and bullshit.
I get that.
And so they found the prehistoric human and the first sapien, and they just kind of bred it the same way we bred a pug to have no nose. You know?
It makes sense.
And they bred us to be like miners and workhorses, which kind of works to how we are today. Because if we were bred to be workhorses to extract metal from the earth, we would be obsessed with getting metal, right?
Yeah,
which is
like
true.
We are, yeah.
Our money for the longest time was based on gold or platinum or silver. Sometimes, like if you're French and you had a franc, it was aluminum.
Well, also look at everything that we do. We construct everything using metal, like everything.
Microchips, yeah, everything's made of metal.
Like we're a metal-centric existence, yeah.
Yeah, And so
This all makes sense.
the idea that came across my mind was that it could work.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter that Jim Mars dives into it on, where he's like, and then they had debates about whether or not it's okay to, make life, like, are we gods? And it's like,
Wait, what?
it's like, how the fuck would you know that,
Wait,
dude? Like,
that-
who gives a shit? Like, stop embellishing.
He said that the alien said that.
Yeah, he ruins it, He's like that kid at the sleepover that's like, well, it's 12:01, so it's actually tomorrow, and you guys actually are talking about yesterday.
Well, no, like
He's
he
that
goes,
kind of an asshole, dude.
Yeah, like an extra big nerd. That's like, it's more like the person at the sleepover who's telling you a lie, and you're like, oh, I can kind of believe this lie. Like that's kind of believable. And he's like, yeah, then like fucked her for like an hour, then I drank a whole bottle of tequila, and I'm like, you're 12.
Or the one who's like, yeah, man, when Braden falls asleep, I'm gonna get a bowl. And I'm gonna fill it with hot water, and I'm gonna put his hand in it, and he's gonna pee himself because hot water makes you pee yourself.
Yeah.
And then Brandon just wakes up like 40 minutes later with his hand in a bowl of water that's lukewarm at this point. He's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" And Brandon and the other kid with you is like,
He's just
go back to
furiously
sleep.
masturbating.
Go back to sleep. And then Brandon goes back to sleep without wetting himself. And so the other kid starts furiously painting his nails. He's like, we got him just in the right condition. Like, it's a weird thing.
And then
But it
and
happens.
you're just like, what the?
And I'm just like,
fuck is
dude, let me
going
just
on
play Pokemon Yellow. I don't have video games. My parents think they rot my brain. I'm going to stay up all night and not blink while playing Pokemon Yellow.
And then really you're just thinking like, why is this 35-year-old guy hanging out with us in the sleepover?
Yeah, I'm like, I really hope that that Beyblade ripcord that I put in the back fence really holds. That's how I locked the back fence of my house. Was I put a Beyblade ripcord in it and I just like twisted it a bunch.
Your
And-
dad's like, we got to fix that back lock. And you're like, Dad,
I'm like,
fixed
Dad.
it.
I was like, Dad, try getting through it. And he was like, okay. And he tried. And he was like, damn, yeah, well, it
Ooh,
works.
it
Okay,
makes- it
well,
makes
yep,
sense.
sure. And then like the next day,
You
like
want to go
a
play some
dog-
Beyblade, son?
I'm
He's
like, I can't.
Can't do it, Dad.
Actually,
Can't do it.
my brothers, they were like, we're gonna kick your ass. This Beyblade shit that we all picked up, and they like stomped on my Beyblade because they're dicks. And what happened was I had this little turtle guy, and it like knocked off these like 2 exterior blades, and it just made it a little bit shorter. And I got another ripper, obviously, because I had a bunch, because you get them, and I let it rip, and my motherfucker was so much smaller than theirs. It was shorter because they knocked the fucking top blades off while stomping on it. They would go underneath their top blades and just like knock them out from the base.
What?
It was like playing with Yoda in Soul Calibur.
Yeah.
Like how like the regular hits would
go
just
for the
sh-
knees. Go for the knees.
Well, like any regular hit when you play Soul Calibur against Yoda, like any like regular swing goes over his head because he's so small. And so my Beyblade, I was the goddamn champion because they couldn't touch me. They couldn't get me. I was like, take that, you piece of shit. So, they loved it. They tied me to a tree and burnt my leg hair off. They really fucking loved it. They were
So Jim
good,
Mars
good sports about it. Jim
Mars
Mars
is talking crazy shit right now.
Well,
He's
you
talking,
fill in the people while I start trying
Jim
to stop
Mars
myself from
is-
crying over here.
Jim Mars is talking about how the aliens were having like inner conflict with like the Senate and everything within their community. Like, can we actually do
I
this?
don't believe
Should
they
we
were
play God?
democratic. I feel like an intergalactic species probably won't be democratic.
Did you not see Star Wars Episode 1, 2, and 3? The Senate is the most important thing in those movies.
That's a republic.
Whatever, dude.
That's not
The
democratic.
No, they have the Galactic Senate. That's what all the like
Yeah,
floaty
because
ships
it's
were
a
about.
republic. It's ruled by a chancellor.
At the end of the third movie, it is. But the first two, you
what,
don't.
they have a queen, so you want to say it's a monarchy?
No, it's a Senate.
With a queen. Queen Amidala.
She's the
That was cool. You sounded like an animated frog.
she was the queen of her planet. She wasn't the queen of the Senate.
Okay, sure.
All those
Sure.
people are the kings and queens or whatever.
And you
of
think
their,
that's a
of their planet.
democracy? You don't think that's an autocracy or a monarchy or a republic?
Listen,
or
I'm not as woke as you. I don't know what these fucking terms are.
Would you never go to fucking U.S. Civics?
No.
good. It's a boring
So
class.
what was Jim Mars learning about the fucking aliens?
Jim Mars was going on about it. Okay, we're gonna skip past that fruit fuck.
Okay.
And we're gonna.
Whoa.
What?
We're just gonna skip past them.
That's what I said. He enjoys fruit. He sells it in his pastime. He's a mango hucker. He's not.
Whoa.
It's true. He quite literally sits on the side of I-9 in California and chops up mangoes and sells them in a bag to people on the fucking freeway, the same way you would buy a rose from an out-of-work Mexican
what
guy.
Else did you want to
That's
talk
what
about,
Jim Mars does with his time. I'm not trying to bullshit you over
Let's
here,
get
man.
Jim out
I
of here.
followed
Let's talk
him.
about the real
I followed
shit.
him home. That's why I... Okay, let's continue. Yeah.
So yeah, let's get rid of that fucker. What else is going on, man, with these aliens?
So we'll talk about the Sumerians. Now, the Sumerians are a people who...
Is that the first civilization?
Not quite. We've found tools
They're out of South
in
Africa,
existence that are older than the Sumerians. The Sumerians are dated about 10,000 to 13,000 years ago.
Oh yeah, we found the ancient toolbox, which is dated at like
A couple million.
Yeah, like 2-3 million.
Yeah, with
But
that
yeah,
pickaxe. Yeah. But so the Sumerians are where we get a lot of this stuff from. They are a ancient civilization that was very smart because they did not use papyrus. They wrote everything down on clay.
Ah, that's smart.
And so we kept all their writings. The issue is that there are about 21 Sumerian tablets that we have in our possession of the world population. However, we've only translated almost 6 of them.
Wow.
So,
6.
and in those 6, we found things about what they call the Anunnaki. Now, the Anunnaki were started around, they were created around 432,000 years ago. And they came through the heavens and landed on the earth. Now, we can understand that they came from Nibiru, which came through what they called the Great Bracelet at the time, which is what we now call, which is what now we would know as the asteroid belt that is actually just behind Mars.
Yeah, the inner asteroid belt.
There you go. And they landed around the Persian Gulf, is what we believe.
Oh, cool.
And they've recounted how they explored for the gold strata. They started mining. They started working with the DNA of people because I'm sure they've worked with DNA. They have intergalactic space.
Yeah, you assume that one would be.
We cloned a sheep already, and we're dumb shits who still are very intrigued by an electronic digital watch.
Hey, we landed on a asteroid.
Dude, that's awesome. Great fucking job. Now, go tell me why every single ad isn't for the newest craze of digital watch, the iPhone series, the iWatch Series 4.
Wait, what?
The iWatch. Why the hell are we so intrigued with digital watches? Makes us look like goddamn sapiens. Which, yeah, we technically are, but aren't we trying to be something more than that? Aren't we trying to evolve into the Matrix and create the Matrix that we want to believe in?
Listen, we're in the Matrix.
That's what you want to believe.
That's
we
what
won't
is
be,
true.
Is not true until we make the Matrix we want to be in.
It's like fractals.
Listen, it's what I'm telling you is factual.
I know.
There is no way for you to live in the Matrix the way you want to.
No, yeah, absolutely not. Like even if you create a
Unless-
matrix, you can't plug yourself into it.
Well, if
You would just have a
made
copy
that,
of yourself.
It doesn't that wouldn't matter. There is no fucking way that you can live in the Matrix that you want to live in until you go out and make it.
Okay, this isn't the secret.
Because someone can go make a Matrix that you can then go live in, and yeah, you can make a great life for yourself. It's going to be the same fucking thing as this life, won't it? It won't be anything greater or better. It'd be the same thing as this life. It'd be just like dreaming. It wouldn't be...
I would make my dick 2 inches bigger.
Why am I can't think of the word.
I don't even know what
When
you're
you
getting
dream and you move and you fly and you fuck things.
at. Oh, you mean whatever. Doesn't matter.
I can't think of the word. It starts with an L, doesn't it? Lucid dreaming.
Yeah, lucid dreaming.
It's like dreaming instead of lucid dreaming. You jump off a building and you start to fly instead of going and hitting your face. Like you gotta make it for yourself. Either way, either way, my friend. Supposedly.
The fuck?
I don't know. Hold on, let me take this. They called me once before.
We're taking a little break.
I knew it. It was the fucking college asking for money once again.
That you just alumni at?
Yeah, that I just got out of being alumni at. They're like, can you just
Did
give
they
us the
pay
money
you?
we
Did
want?
they pay you money
Did they pay me money?
to MC it?
No, it was a free gig.
So
No,
not only are you doing free gig for them, but now they're asking money on top of it?
Well, that was the school. I did the gig for the fraternity.
Oh, okay, that's true.
So, why should we give any relevance to the Sumerian text is the big question that I always am left with in my brain, you know. But the great thing is that the Anunnaki left a great story.
Ooh, you have the story before you?
Lightly.
Oh, let's hear it.
I have cliff
Story
notes
time.
because I read the story years ago. It was what the Christians call the flood of Noah. Now, the Anunnaki supposedly went back to Nibiru, and when Nibiru was leaving our atmosphere, caused such environmental change because it passed just near Earth, as it would and will,
Yeah.
that it caused a worldwide flood.
Oh, wait, that sounds familiar.
And because they already had the understanding of DNA, they had the one they weren't even called humans at that point, but what the one sapien they had that they trusted, they had him get the DNA of everything on Earth, and they gave it to him and put him in a boat that was actually to the exact same specifications of Noah.
Mm-hmm.
And he landed where they believe Noah landed,
Yeah.
and started to farm and create animals. And if you look into the history of farming, there's no reason that we should have ever started on a mountaintop, but that is where the history of farming started. Farming should have started in the most fertile soil, which would be in a fertile crescent,
like
but it did
Ethiopia
not.
or something.
It started in a mountaintop in South America, which is where the boat would have landed, and he would have had the DNA.
Right.
So while I'm out here in the UK, I actually was over in Paris for a little bit.
Oh, shit. Wait. We didn't pay for that.
No, that was on my own dime. Ryanair is really cheap, especially when you get on, you just yell, "Listen, I'm not going to make a viral video. Just let me on." And they're like, "Okay, fine. Get in the back."
All right, so what happened in Paris? What happened in France?
I went looking for old coins because I had heard myth and lore of these like 1600-something French coins that showed a flying saucer.
Word?
Yeah.
You find them?
I did. It was from 1680, and it has a flying saucer, and it was beautiful. It's very nice. However, I can't help but think that humans have just been like obsessed with frisbees like our whole life. You know, like
Dude,
that's
frisbees are
what I'm thinking.
awesome.
Like frisbees are sick, and like why wouldn't we put them on the money?
Mhm.
Like I don't think these are flying saucers. I don't think. These are
you make a
aliens.
good point,
I
my
think
friend.
these
I
are
think we should
frisbees.
petition a frisbee on the dollar bill.
Let's go
Get
with.
get Abraham Lincoln off of it.
I'm about to say he already has the penny, and the 5, right?
Yeah, get him off the $1 bill.
Isn't George Washington on the one?
Get him off of it too.
No, I like him.
No more.
He was very honest. No, he wasn't honest, Abe. He was
Yeah.
honest, George. He
was
chopped down a cherry tree and said, "I did it." And they're like, "Why?" And he
We
was
didn't
like,
fucking-
"I just hated it, and I got an axe." And they're like, "George, just calm down. Just calm down. Put the
I
axe
cannot
down.
tell a lie.
I want to kill." And then like his brethren and his descent, his family, his descendants, ended up being Jeffrey Dahmer.
What?
Yeah, little known fact. George Kill-All Washington was the person that put
The
that
great,
little
great,
seed.
great, great, great grandfather.
So actually, this is I know we've been joking in the last couple seconds, but this is actually a true story. My neighbors when I was growing up, the mother,
They got stabbed to death.
no, she had a great story that she loved to tell, and so
Okay.
I'll tell it now as if I was her. So I'm not gonna do her voice, but it just makes more sense from that.
No, yeah.
Perspective.
No, that's good. Yeah.
So we had a family friend whose child went to college out in Michigan, and this was in Virginia where we were living, Northern Virginia. And so the kid went out to college, and they did random roommate, and they were saying to the mom on the phone every now and then, like, "Hey, my roommate's a little weird, but it's okay. I'll get through it." And then they came home for the Thanksgiving break, and told their parents and their family like one little piece of information about the roommate. And once the parents heard that, they got in the car and they drove from Northern Virginia straight to Michigan.
Yeah.
And they demanded to see the dean of housing and said, "You have to rehouse our child."
Mm-hmm.
Immediately. And they did. But it turns out that the kid's roommate had been killing small animals and putting their heads on his bookshelf.
That's pretty normal. I've done that.
And his freshman year random roommate, the name was Jeffrey Dahmer.
The Jeffrey Dahmer or
the
a different one?
Jeffrey Dahmer.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy?
It's really crazy because Jeffrey Dahmer never went to college.
Jeffrey Dahmer went to college for one semester.
Okay.
And he got kicked out.
He also never killed anyone until like kind of late in life.
Serial killers start by killing animals.
They do.
And when he was in college, for the one semester, he was roomed with my neighbor's family friend.
That's crazy.
And the fucker was like cutting up cats and bunnies and birds.
Did you know if that guy, your friend's son or daughter or whoever that was? Wait, who was it?
It was their son.
Did he jog a lot?
No.
Oh. Because if that was the jogger, that would be crazy. Jeffrey Dahmer's first victim was going to be a jogger that jogged by his house every day. And he knew the schedule. And he was going to kill this guy, but then one day the jogger didn't run, and that was the day that he was going to kill somebody. So, like, it's crazy that that's a coincidence because Jeffrey Dahmer, like, everything leading up to, like, his first murder is all coincidence. He was going to kill a jogger. The jogger just happened to run that day, saved his life. Except for the hitchhiker. The hitchhiker, which is the first person that Jeffrey Dahmer did murder. Yeah, he just bad luck.
Just found a hitchhiker?
Yeah, well, a guy was hitchhiking and he picked him up. One thing led to another. He murdered him. He didn't plan it. He wasn't like, I'm going to find a hitchhiker and murder him. It's just one thing. He was also gay.
Dahmer or the hitchhiker?
Both. Dahmer was extremely gay. That's why he only murdered men. He loved the men that he like slept. It's really weird because
tell me. I'm not thinking of John Wayne Gacy, and all I'm thinking about is children. Tell me about Dahmer.
John Wayne Gacy is a whole other thing. But Dahmer looked for the most attractive men that he could find to murder them, and he also liked to save the dicks. But only the biggest dicks will do.
Really?
Yeah. Was your neighbor?
No, that's probably why he didn't get murdered.
Yeah, he probably would have been fine.
He had a small pecker.
How do you know?
I've known.
So what else is going on?
I've known thousands of whites in my time. I've known 3 with large peckers, and 1 was half white.
What is large?
Like 6 or 8 inches flaccid. A large pecker. A porno dick.
Yeah.
One that you're like, that can't grow.
You're
a shower.
Yeah.
I hope.
No, I'm a grower. I'm a terrible shower.
I'm not saying to you.
Oh.
I'm saying to those guys.
Yeah, like if
you have 8 inches flaccid, I swear to God, if
and
you
then
grow
6 inches hard, it's like what? How did that happen?
You're a shrinker, not a dinker.
Boom, boom. So what is going on with these
aliens?
Where were we at?
So I mean, here's the thing, right? Is that
turn your phone? What the hell is this?
It just buzzed because it has an hour until I have a chance to win no money because I always lose at this fucking app. But
I was actually gonna buy a lottery ticket today.
Why?
Like I have been so lucky today. It's been pretty great.
Well, then you should have done it.
Like 6.
We still should.
Yeah, I'm still gonna do it.
You driving home?
No.
After these 17
we're
beers?
Gonna Uber. 7. I've had 2.
You've had sure. Put your glasses back on and count the half a case that is empty next to you, sir. This man was going on about me being drunk at the beginning, but now he has shotgunned 18 beers, and now he's blasted. So, we shall continue talking about ancient aliens. I don't know why I had to throw you under the bus for no reason.
So the French coin is what you're talking about.
I know, but I don't care about it. The coolest thing that I found...
This is where we got to last time, and you fucking stopped caring about it.
But listen, Mike, I found something way cooler.
Okay, tell me about this.
It is ancient Colombian jewelry. Jewelry.
Are you talking about the quote-unquote golden bugs?
Yeah.
That look nothing like bugs?
They look nothing like bugs. They look like little miniature airplanes.
So tell the audience at home
ancient.
What the hell you're talking about.
So they're these small Colombian pieces of jewelry that were found, and they have no real date as to carbon dating because it's gold.
Yeah.
So they don't really want to break. They don't want to break a part off because it's jewelry.
I'll break a piece off on you.
And they look like bugs. They've been classified as bugs, but we found out that they actually really look a lot like airplanes.
Yeah, amazing like an airplane.
A lot like a 1920s airplane, like a 1920s war fighting airplane. And a German crew, actually like a scientist, engineering crew from college, took the designs of them and made them to scale for a human, and they flew them as actual planes.
Crazy.
And so these
what would they make it? They make it out of gold?
No.
Germans don't have gold.
No, they have a ton of Nazi gold, but they don't want to use it.
They're like, so Germans, it says that you don't have any gold here. It's like,
nine, no gold, sir. It's all in Austria. Go check there.
It's in Poland.
Check over there.
It's in Poland.
The Russians, they took all of it. Go check their vaults.
It's in Chile.
Any of the ones with swastikas on it, they are ours. We brand them well.
It's like, it says that you don't have it, but we haven't checked that room with the giant swastika on the door.
That's not our room. We can't open that one. We lost the key a long time
Oh no,
ago.
is Nazi it's banned.
Actually, I watched this movie the other day. It was called
what movie you watched?
It's called Unforgotten. No, it was called Remember.
Those are two very different things.
Fuck off. It was called Remember, and it was what's the name of the actor? He's so goddamn old. Well, he played
Gary Oldman.
No, he played this 90-year-old man who his wife had died. He was living in a retirement home, and his friend was like, "Hey, your wife died, and you promised her and myself that when she died, you would go out and find the Nazi that killed my family and our family and kill him." And so there were only 4 people in the entire United States that had this name that was stolen from a person in Auschwitz. And he goes through all these 4 people, and then the 4th guy, he gets to the dude, and he's like, "You are so-and-so." And the guy was like, "I was a Nazi. I was a Block Führer at Auschwitz, but I am not so-and-so. I am this person."
Adolf Hitler.
No, he was like, "You are so-and-so." And he's like, No, I am an inmate. I was in Auschwitz. It was horrible." He's like, "No, you were the other Block Führer. That's why my number is this one and yours is one less. We tattooed each other." And the guy shoots him and then shoots himself in the head. Oh, it's a dope movie.
Sounds like Old Boy.
Seems like it. But
that's interesting. That's actually an interesting concept for a film. Like,
well, I mean,
did the Nazis? Is there any proof that the Nazis disguised themselves as?
Yeah. Oh my God, tons.
As Jews?
Yeah, they would. When the rebels came to take the camps, they would disguise themselves as Jews.
The rebels? Are you a Nazi?
I'm not a Nazi. I'm just.
Are you a Nazi?
I'm just still thinking
the rebels?
about Star Wars.
Are you calling the Allied forces
I was thinking
rebels?
about Star Wars.
Oh my! I have to walk away from this.
I'm sorry. I was thinking about stormtroopers and Vader and how the rebels came and freed Auschwitz and
That's staying in. No, tell me about the fucking other thing. Tell me about the Columbia.
God damn it!
The rebels.
I'm not a Nazi.
When the rebels came in.
When the rebels, they broke through our... Yeah,
they ate the strudel.
It was laced with cyanide.
Oh, and now we American. I mean, we've always been Americans.
Yes, Peru has always been my home. That's why I am blonde-haired and blue-eyed. I'm very fair.
Purdue, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, either way. I mean, to be fair, the Nazis had a big impact on it.
This is getting cut out because I want to talk about this.
No, well, here's a big question. Don't fucking cut this out.
This is getting cut out.
You better not cut this out. Stop putting all these clicks in here. Well, we have to cut it out because we have so many clicks. All right, I'll give you a hard click, and I'll keep going by Ancient Aliens. Fuck you. I'm gonna do the click, you asshole. I want to sip a beer first.
You're drunk.
So one of the other really cool things that I found, they actually don't have these in any of the museums I've gone to, but
in France or
in France or England.
Or England. Okay.
I think I have to go out to Turkey to find these, or maybe out to Scotland. I'm not positive, but there are giant bones that have been found. So you know the biblical story of like David and Goliath?
Yeah, the giant. Yeah.
Well, Goliath was actually part of a giant community. Like, there was a giant. What do they call themselves? Clans.
Really interesting.
Yeah. So there was a giant clan, and there were a lot of giants in the world.
Like how tall? Well, we talking like 8 feet here. We talking about
like
Yao Ming giants?
No, like a femur that's 6 feet long.
What's a femur?
A femur's your thigh bone. It's the hardest bone to break in your body. If you
6 feet, that mean like a person's like 80 feet tall.
No, they're not 80 feet. They're probably
6
like
feet.
25, 30 feet tall.
That's still ridiculous.
It's insane.
You can't
but
build
they're
a house
giants.
for these people.
And so giants have been recorded throughout history. I mean, I know we already did our Skunk Ape episode, which talks about
Bigfoot, skunk ape.
No, what's the study of mythological creatures called?
Cryptozoology.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we already talked about cryptozoology, but one of the main cryptozoology things from across the world
are giants.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I would not say giants. I would say larger humanoid creatures.
3 times the size of man.
In Ireland and Scotland, yes. In England, yes. In the Middle East, yes. In Africa, yes. In Central Asia, no. You had ones that were about twice as large as man.
Because they're so short. Racism even exists in cryptozoology.
It's just the way people are. And then also, if you go over to North and South America, they were about 1.5 to 2 times the size of man because they're mountainous creatures like the Yeti, which is why they weren't so tall.
Interesting.
But if you look at Northern Ireland and Scotland, their giants were said to be anywhere from 30 to 60 feet tall. The fact that they could crawl into these giant crypts in the middle of mountains, and those were where they lived, those giant caverns where there are small caves they talked about, or they lived at the bottom of a massive lake, and they could do that because it took them, 2 seconds to swim to the surface.
Yeah, because you'd also you'd have to sit in there to take a bath. That's your bathtub, a giant lake.
I guess so. Yeah, it's a dirty ass lake.
I'm just taking a bath.
Could you imagine if it was like the reason that like the rivers in the Erie,
because a giant was dragging his dick?
No, he was like a very greasy Italian giant, just like was like bathing in the river, was bathing in the lake, and it all went downstream, and like the river caught fire, and they're like, Cleveland sucks, man. And they're like, what? You didn't think about those Italian giants that were over in Chicago?
Hey, I'm just eating a fucking pizza over here.
It's not
Italian beef.
It's not my fault that my goddamn hair produces more grease than all of Yonkers.
So there's a belief of giants?
Yeah, but I want to find the giant bones. I know they're in some fucking museum somewhere, but the
do you think that
one of the big
mainstream
problems,
science is
of course mainstream science hides it, dude. Fucking Carl Sagan. Carl Sagan used to believe that our moon was a satellite placed there by aliens because it seems to be hollow and never changes what face shows us, which does not seem very naturally made. It seems very scientifically and artificially made. Carl Sagan used to talk about that shit, and then he got to be financially and successfully powerful, And he stopped talking about it because it's not good for business.
Yeah, for anyone listening at home, the moon is what's called tidal lock to us. So one face of the moon is always facing us. That's what the dark side of the moon implies, that there's this other side of the moon that we will never see.
We simply have just never seen it.
We can't see it. That's very interesting. That's a unique. It seems like a unique thing.
It's not though, which is
It's
crazy
not.
because
Doesn't Jupiter have a few?
Exactly. Jupiter
Jupiter
has
also
two
has-
separate moons that have the same thing, and also both of those have a massive rift in the middle. It seems like that was a line that the two sides were sealed upon.
The Acorn one and the Death Star one.
Yeah, and the problem with our moon is that some crazies like Jim Marr, who likes to go frolicking in the rain naked.
Are we anti Jim Marr now? Is that what we've become?
No.
Oh, okay.
I just like to
sure.
purport facts. He likes to.
What did
frolic
Jim Marr,
naked
that
in the rain
crazy?
and drink margaritas? He was very inspired by that song.
What's Jim Marr talking about, though?
Jim Marr is talking about how our moon is very hollow, and if you ask NASA, when the last
It's
mission,
just full of caves.
well, that's what they fucking say. But what the hell is the difference between Swiss cheese and cheese with a bunch of holes in it?
Well, didn't they say that when Apollo 11 landed on the moon, it made a ding or something, like a bell?
Yeah, it rung like a bell.
Rung like a bell. That sounds hollow.
Because when
to
something
me.
landed on it, it just like
Bong.
boom, and the well, so there was a very interesting sci-fi movie. I watch a lot of B-rated sci-fi movies.
I think anyone who listens to this does.
I hope so. However, there was one recently where a team goes to a moon off of Jupiter that's an ice moon.
Oh, Europa.
Europa. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great movie. Very cool.
Interesting because it's true. There is a moon of Jupiter that is entirely comprised of water.
But they
Europa.
And actually Europa is melting because Nibiru is heading back into our solar system. Now
solar system warming.
I would say galaxy warming.
Galaxy
I would
warming.
I would say this portion of the galaxy is warming because Nibiru is coming back into it.
No,
Because you gotta believe that
that's-
the closer it gets to the sun, the more it's going to evaporate, and the more the hot water is going to be in its atmosphere, making it exothermically push heat into the atmosphere and into space, melting the Europa, melting the ice caps on Mars, helping us get out of an ice age, even though we're doing damn well ourselves.
Yeah, we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, the world is changing." I'm like, "Good, fuck the world, burn it." The only thing that brings credence to what you're thinking, because a lot of people might be thinking, "What? How could a planet affect an entire solar system?" When a comet is going through a solar system,
Yeah.
and it has a tail.
Yeah.
Do you know how that tail is made?
Yeah, it's actually it is perspiration and ice and other molecules falling off of the comet and burning up in our atmosphere that then
No, the solar system, not the atmosphere, because the atmosphere is in a planet.
the tail of a comet.
Yeah, the tail of a
comet. Why don't you tell me?
Well, the comet's tail, because you imagine that the comet's tail is always behind the direction that it's going, but when it's in the proximity of a sun or anything else that has heat, the tail is actually going the opposite direction of where the sun is.
Wow.
So say like it's going this way, and if the sun's over here, the tail's going that way.
Now, here's the problem.
Is that no one can see what the hell I just did.
No, I mean, not that. But my other question for that is, does it affect the trajectory of the comet?
Well, I don't think the heat would.
Besides the
gravity,
gravitational
I think the
pull.
gravity would, but I don't think the heat would.
Okay, but so
But I don't-
but
I
you're
don't know.
saying the tail of the comet has nothing to do with the trajectory of the comet.
Not when it's in proximity of the sun. If it's affected by the sun,
Now, that is incredibly interesting to me because that to me seems as though, because what I think of as a foxtail, I played with a foxtail my whole life.
yeah, you love playing with the old foxtail.
For those of you who are not from the Northeast and don't really understand what a foxtail is a toy that children of the 90s, 80s, 70s, and probably honestly all the way back down to the 20s had. Because all you really had to do was put a fucking ball in a sock and tie it at one end.
Yeah,
and you swing it around, you toss it, and the little tail follows it. But they made a good standardized one that we would all buy in the 90s because we're consumerists, and
Of course
it was known as a foxtail. I once tried to foxtail some German Shepherd poop in a bag up a stranger's driveway, and it landed on their roof. I'm not proud of that. I'm just recanting a fact. However, on to more actual things. The one more incredible thing I found that really, honestly, to me.
Now, where did you find this? France, England,
this was
Colombia, Spain. Jesus Christ, you just went all over Europe.
I'm sorry, but I had to.
So, what'd you find out in Spain?
So in Spain, I was in a museum, and I found ancient maps.
Wow!
And now there were these ancient Spanish maps that were actually copies of maps.
Yeah.
That the Spanish took from natives in two
Natives
different parts
of
of
what?
the world. One in South America and one in one in like the Philippine kind of like southeast region.
So when the Spaniards made it to South America, they got this map.
They copied it. and
Okay,
they call
so
it their
like
own.
18th century, like
Probably.
17th century.
But they were copied from much earlier maps. And what they depicted was the bottom coastline of the world. And now the bottom coastline of the world really was Antarctica's coastline without glaciers.
Okay, no,
Without
like when
glaciers, they had the specific coastline,
wow,
which is incredible because we as humans did not know about that until the mid 1980s when
we had like radar. And stuff
and we
to actually
radared
look at
to
stuff.
find the coastline. And the way these
So how'd
maps
they
are
have it?
drawn is from an aerial perspective. So either they had some motherfucker who went up there in a balloon when there
How
was
accurate
no
are they?
to the inch.
No,
Yeah.
that's crazy. So
To
they
the
had a guy
inch.
in a blimp.
Either they had a guy in a blimp or they had some fucking alien dude.
Well,
Or they had some goddamn alien that told them about it. And I'm going to keep screaming. I'm so sorry.
South
for our
America is
listeners.
actually really
Honestly,
interesting because
I feel so bad about screaming into your ears. I feel like you guys really I have a ringing in my ears, but that's not even tinnitus. That's just like stress, and I have no stress in my life. I have no dog. I have no child.
it's interesting that you say this because South America has a lot of crazy shit that you can only see from the sky.
It's very true.
Like what are those?
The concentric circles.
Them
They have
and
the-
also the astronaut and the
Oh,
spider.
you're talking about
spider.
the massive like crop formations, more or less. The
Yeah,
ones
the,
etched on the hills.
the
Because
something
the
something
images etched on hills are in northern Africa. However, in South America, they have these concentric circles, which are very interesting because there's no way in or out, and they just continually go down by about 6 to 8 meters. And at the center of the concentric circles, it's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit warmer than it is at the top of the concentric circles.
Now, how does
and
that make any sense?
Well, because what they believe is that they used alien technology, which our human tech, relies on metal.
yeah.
I personally believe that alien tech relies on carbon.
Now that's interesting
And now carbon
because
is
we're
what-
made out of carbon. right?
Exactly. So how the fuck else will they make us? We're made out of carbon. They know how to
Everything's
manipulate it.
starting to fall together here.
And so they would use the carbon and the concentric circles and the gravity of the Earth and the heat produced by the Earth to produce a hotter spot, a hot spot to hopefully probably maybe meld things or forge things. They used to use pyramids for what I believe were major power plants.
Oh,
And they would use them to create electricity they could send to other power plants. I personally believe that the aliens would use their own personal tech to activate henges. And I believe they could activate the henges of the world to move great leaders and great people around the world with much more ease.
yeah. Then that's what we're talking about in South America. They have the Stargate.
They do.
It's this giant stone passageway that they say that the legend says that a great shaman was able to enter it by doing some type of thing. They don't recall what it was. They pretty much said like enter a disc into a device, and like a PS2 game into this Star Trek device, and was able to enter the Stargate, which is how they designed the Stargate for the show and the movie.
Well,
but I was actually talking about the Nazca line.
Well, here's a more interesting thing than both of those things. I'm sorry to burst
more
your
interesting than the Stargate and the Nazca lines?
Yes.
What? The flat mountain?
No. It's in modern day Iraq. So,
all right, what's going on in Iraq?
What was the name of the guy that we killed and somebody
Saddam
shoved?
Hussein?
Thank you. I was gonna say someone shoved a baton up his ass, a bayonet up his
Yeah,
ass.
well, they did before they hung him.
Yeah, so Saddam Hussein thought he was the reincarnation of an incredible great ruler.
Who doesn't?
Most people.
I'm pretty sure I'm a reincarnation of a great leader. That's why I can get drunk so fast.
Really?
So
that's what you think? So Saddam Hussein thought he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar, who built.
Whoa, you can't say that word.
Nebuchadnezzar?
Whoa, hey, don't say it twice. We're gonna get taken off the internet.
So Saddam Hussein believed himself to be the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar, who built a gold tower called the Fiery Furnace. He never got to work correctly, so he found 3 Hebrew priests, and they were forced to make it work or die from the supposed radiation from the center of it, because there were no doors to this place. They would basically break down a wall, push someone in, and rebuild the wall.
Yeah, build the wall.
And Nebuchadnezzar was told by his servant that all 4 of them are in there, the 3 Hebrews and the, quote, Son of God. Now, could this have been a wormhole that somebody came through?
Could it have been?
Could it have been the first nuclear reactor of the world emitting radiation? Because they were said to put on their magical suits, which we believe to be radiation suits. And so a lot of the stuff from Nebuchadnezzar and from the tomb of Gilgamesh that was thought to be a myth that was found, they were all brought to the Iraq Museum. And so why did we attack Iraq? That's a great question that we shall attempt to answer next week.
No.
I'm sorry. I gotta leave you on a cliffhanger, Michael. I'm not gonna tell you why we attacked Iraq.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm relating this to real life shit. I'm sorry, but I really did a lot of research on this. I told you on the last one, guys.
Yeah.
I will not purport you a theory that I don't believe is a true conspiracy. If it's not a true conspiracy, it's just bullshit. And you know what? I'm looking into goddamn real conspiracies. And so I'm leaving you on a cliffhanger. I'll see you next week, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to Wild Wasteland. I've been Dean Maldonado.
And I've been Michael Johnson.
And we can't wait to hear from you.
And thank you so much for listening in. This is the second episode of Ancient Aliens. We're gonna have the next. This
is the penultimate. Hopefully,
we're gonna have hopefully the finale next week for you.
Dun 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 dun.
Listen to us on SoundCloud. We're gonna be on all the other bullshit eventually.
Also, look forward to a solo podcast of myself called A Walkthrough.
Yeah, Dean Maldonado is going to be creating his own podcast.
It's going to be me talking to me, talking to me, talking to me. It's going to be hellish, and we'll all hate it. Please tune in to Walkthrough.
Thank you, and good night.
Have a great night. Bye-bye. Go for it.
You say something?
What?